Do you want to hit better iron shots? Do you want to hit longer iron shots? Do you want to hit the golf ball straighter? And do you want to hit more greens in regulation, which should ultimately lower your scores? Hi everyone, my name's James and welcome back to Get Good at Golf. Today that's exactly what we're going to help you do, and we're talking about irons today because I see so many people who struggle with striking the golf ball correctly with their irons, and it comes from generally how their arms work. Now we all know that generally the arms aren't the most important factor of the golf swing. I'm a big believer that the bigger muscles are the huge factor, and of course the sequencing behind that. So if I hit you a couple of shots, one of the big things that I want to talk about just before we move into generally how your right arm should work in the golf swing, and I've seen so many horror stories as to how that right arm should work and as to how it shouldn't work as well. Guys, quick caveat, if you are new here or you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please do so. We're on the way to 50,000 subscribers and we really love you to be a part of it and of course to help you get good at golf. So if I hit you a couple of shots, I've got a green out here at 160 yards and I have an 8 iron 301 MB, so a nice blade. It's Chris's actually, isn't it Chris?
It is.
So the first thing I'm going to think about is, right, if I want to hit nice long straight golf shots, how can I do that with an 8 iron? Well, for me, one of the big things that I've been really trying to work on is, first of all, how do I get that nice towering, go on then, oh, how do I get that nice high towering ball flight? Well, that can come from the basics. You can hit shots like that one without really having to change too much. You see, I want to make sure that first of all, you're stood correctly and the ball position is correct. So if I was to stand at this golf ball here, the first thing I want to make sure is with the irons, we're not stood too wide here. And these are little bonus tips, guys. This hasn't got anything to do with your right arm just yet, but I promise we are going to get to that within the golf swing. If you stand too wide, essentially what we're going to see here is a shot where you go this way. Now I've hit that as good as I physically can, and as you'll see, it's gone 120, 130 yards. Now why is that? Because if you're stood incorrectly, you're stood far too wide, you can't get the rotation, and you'll notice that even with my nice new clean shoes on, I couldn't get through into the finishing position that I want to get to. So essentially what I want to make sure is that we're stood nice and shoulder width. I think essentially you want to be still athletic, but you don't want to be stood overly narrow either, because if we stand too narrow, that can happen. And you can see once again, I haven't got through into my finishing position, so I've really struggled to generate any kind of strike that I do want. These are all mega important things that can really help you just get the basics correct and generally get that ball striking proper. So, proper, that's proper English, Chris, isn't it?
Proper.
Proper ball striking, but, proper ball striking, I tell thee. But, if you want to have those nice high towering ball flights, a lot of people will say, right, with an 8 iron, I want the ball bang smack in the middle of your stance. Now, generally, I wouldn't disagree with that, but the only issue I have with it is it's very, very one-dimensional. Now, I want you to be able to hit high shots, low shots, lots of different shots because we're generating that ball strike that we want. So essentially, if I have the ball a little bit forward, that's absolutely fine. And this is where the right arm starts to come in. What I don't want to do is have that backward shaft lean here. Because if I have backward shaft lean, I can hit that shot that I was saying, the nice high one, just like that. But look what happens to the distance. That looks so good in the air, but again, it's only gone 130 yards. How is that? Because it looked like I hit it really well, I struck it really well, and it's that lovely high shot like we said. Now, if I have the ball forward, you can do that as long as you have the shaft forward as well. So you can see I've now got that handle past my left hip here as a reference point. So the handle's forward, I've still got forward shaft lean, and now I hit that shot that I want to hit. You can see I'm through into the finishing position. It's a consistent shot again. Maybe this one might go in this time. No, but it's within that nice circle again. So it's gone exactly the correct distance with that lovely high ball flight. So what's happening potentially with the right arm there is, rather than it working this way on the way out, and we see so many people who can't do this properly, if I work the arm this way and then try and get to the top, I really can't generate the strike that I want to. Again, probably 130 yards, 128.5. Now, if that right arm does work correctly, and this is why we wanted to title the video this, and this is why I've kind of given you a few basic tips, but really wanting to get into the meat of what we're trying to do here, because I've said I want the nice high ball flight. We've got that set in stone because we've moved the ball position. Now, that right arm, if I was to take it off the club here and allow myself just to move back, what happens with the right arm here? You can see that the bicep is almost tensing a little bit on the way back. So if I then put this on the club and allow it to work properly, look where that puts the club when the left arm's parallel to the ground. It sits really, really nicely. The butt of the club points down to the ball, and from there, I'll just rotate my upper body to the top of the backswing. On the way down, because it's such a rotational move, the left arm leads. Obviously, whenever we talk about left arm, right foot, left leg, left shoulder, right shoulder, there's always an agonist and an antagonist. So there's always something that's going to work harder, and there's always something that's going to relax. So generally, I want you to think that the right arm is doing the work on the way back by folding nicely. A lot of people say you should be able to hold a dinner tray at the top there. I can't because I don't have the movement in my shoulder. But once you're at the top of the backswing, you then want your left arm to rotate naturally around your body as you come down into impact. So you can see the sequencing is exactly how I want it to be. You can see that from the top of the backswing, I'm using the ground, then I'm using my legs, hips, torso, shoulders, arms. That arm's still rotating naturally on the way down. And what's happened with that shaft, Chris?
It's got forward shaft lean.
Forward shaft lean. So we know that's going to generate the strike for us. We know it's going to have that dynamic loft. And we know that essentially what we're trying to do is build a backswing where I can hit the nice high one, just like that. And once again, it should be pretty consistent. I'm not changing anything in the golf swing. So distance-wise, it's 159.5 again. If I have a look on the screen here, and we have a look at, first of all, the replay, or the replay's on the screen, we have a look at the shots. Look at the shots here. So those last ones I hit, we hit the 157, 160, a 159 and a 159. So realistically here, we're getting a really, really good average of what we're trying to do. Now the reason for that is because, again, not only am I allowing myself to hit the same shot, not only am I allowing myself to hit the same trajectory, but we're getting the same strike with the same speed. So we're generating the same ball speed, we're generating the same spin on the ball, which is allowing us to get the same distance. So the key to take away here is, yes, the simple stuff that we spoke about right at the start of the video, but literally just thinking about, right, how does my right arm want to work in this golf swing? Because if you allow that right arm to kind of move out a little bit here, get a little bit more disjointed, you don't want to see too much space between your kind of right armpit and your rib cage. Allow it to sit in nicely, and then from there, I want the Lampkin logo pointing at my shoulder here, and it's a really good way of working on that throughout the ball. It's a really good way of working on it at the driving range, where rather than just allowing yourself to hit shots, let's think, right, well, I know the basics are right because James mentioned that right at the start of the video, and I also know that if I just allow this arm to work properly, then I can hit the shots of my dreams. I can hit really consistent 8-irons. Now, if I were to just go to the range and just allow myself to clip shots like that, you can see there's no real speed there. I'm not trying to hit it at a distance, but I'm allowing the arm to work as a natural lever and then release the club down. So I'm allowing that club, I'm almost using the weight of it just to hit different shots there. And Chris will agree that this is actually one of the most productive things you can do at a driving range. If you ever go to a tour driving range or you go and watch some of the best players in the world, often the first shots they hit is like a little bit of a one-armed, and this isn't necessarily just a show-off thing. It isn't necessarily just a warm-up. It's allowing themselves to think, right, I'm getting used to the weight of the club for the day. I'm allowing myself to work on this. And the key here, and if you are still here, guys, please get in the comments below and let us know if you think this is going to help you. But the ultimate key to this video is allowing this to be nice and relaxed. So if I tense the arm up, it's very, very difficult to allow yourself to load that club up properly. So guys, if you want to hit much better iron shots, if you want to lower those scores, think about how your right arm works and think about if you can hit your 8-iron 159.5 yards. Oh, it's a little bit further, but we'll take 2 yards extra.